Welcome, agents, to episode 40 of Behind the Scanner. I am one of your hosts, Daphne from Washington, D.C., and our other host available tonight, is Jorge Pedrero from Mexico City.
Hello, guys.
Yay! So our special guests tonight are Sergey from Belarus and Chris from New Zealand. Welcome to the show, guys.
Well, agents, I hope you don't hear. Well, you're hearing my dog
You
barking.
hear the dog.
I'm so sorry.
No
I have
music, but
I
we
have
have
told
dogs.
him. I told him that this is the time for behind the scanner. He has to be quiet, but I don't know. He
He
doesn't
wants to be on the show.
probably. Well, welcome, Sergey. It's a pleasure to have you here with us tonight. It's you are one of the top resistance players out there. So how much longer do I get to consider you my faction mate? Because there's something there that it's it, it makes me a little bit sad, but well, you have to explain it.
I suppose I will be resistance agent maybe 2 more weeks because I have sent change faction request about 1 month ago. I had about 6 weeks to change faction or something about this. So 2 more weeks and then I will become enlightened.
No.
Yes, yes. The grass is greener on the enlightened side.
Yeah.
So Sergey, what made you decide to switch factions?
Mostly because I think it will be more comfortable for me to play locally for Enlightened. No, I usually play locally, not globally. So in Minsk, I would play for Enlightened, not for Resistance.
Interesting. Now, your agent name now, please forgive my pronunciation, Wyrdyjet?
Yes, something like this.
Okay. Will you be keeping that agent name, or what will be your new manifestation?
I'm still thinking about this. Maybe the same name, maybe I will change it.
Well, one of the nicest things of, well, switching factions is that you can keep all your medals. So you are one of the first all platinum medals holders. How how many of you are out there?
I really don't know. I suppose I was the third agent with all platinum medals, but I did not check situation after I stopped playing, so I don't know how many of us out there. But you know that there is several new medals were introduced, so I suppose nobody got platinum recruiter, for example.
So that affects you how your medal holder looks so ugly right now.
I don't know.
Were you
Well,
disappointed when the new medals came out?
How many medals?
No, were you disappointed that the new medals came out and then now there's more things we have to do?
I think I'm not disappointed because I'm not playing now. But I think several of that medals should be introduced earlier. Recruiter should be introduced in the beginning. It's almost stupid to introduce recruiter right now.
I don't think there are many people who disagree with you.
Yeah, I think, well, what was the overall reaction by your fellow platinum holders with all these new medals and things?
Mm, Maybe they were a little disappointed, but as I see Morka uh, just go on, go on. And I suppose he will get all black medals earlier or later.
Hmm. All right. Well, to those of you watching, remember that you can submit questions for our guests. And if you are watching us via YouTube, you have to click the banner at the bottom of the video that says "Be part of the conversation." And from there, just click the square grid menu icon on the upper right and select QA. All right, so about medals. I think regular viewers are pretty aware that my favorite is Platinum Explorer, and I thought I went to some crazy places to earn it, but is it true that you walked around about 80 kilometers in a 24-hour period?
Yes, that's true. It was last May when I traveled over Europe, and that my crazy trip was in Berlin. I've visited Berlin 2 times, and this 24 hours rush was my third time in Berlin. It was really tired. I was tired after this trip.
I bet. So how many UPVs did you get?
I suppose about 800. Not so many.
You know what? In 24 hours, that's pretty amazing. Um,
Mm,
I mean, maybe now that there are a lot more portals, but I remember a fruitful weekend getaway would maybe get me 800 if I were lucky. But now, would you ever do something like that again? Walking?
yes, I'm walking, but out of Ingress. Uh, it's cool scene, but I suppose Ingress is not is only one scene uh, when you can walk. You can just walk around, see new places, explore new places. You can do it without Ingress.
That's very true.
Sure.
All right, so, but what was your favorite place to explore?
My favorite place, I suppose, it was city Krakow in Poland. I explored that place in September, and it was a very nice trip. I've visited 2 cities during 2 days, Warsaw and Krakow, and Krakow was really amazing. And I really want to back that city again.
Nice.
Well, that sounds great. And in addition to exploring, you are also quite a fielder. Can you tell us about fielding over Minsk?
Oh, really? I created a lot of fields over the Minsk during my 2 years of playing. Uh, Maybe most crazy covering was one night when I just drive alone and cover Minsk with, as I remember, 19 layers, and it was about 15 million MU.
Wow.
It's took me about 7 or 8 hours.
And did you have any help with this?
A little help. One of my teammates destroyed several crosslinks on the north of Minsk before I start.
All right, so I mean, in addition, you've done a lot of work, obviously, and um, which would you consider your proudest accomplishment in Ingress?
Proudest accomplishment. Uh, I just play Ingress. Maybe most proudest thing that I play every aspect of game. I don't. I did not focus on exploring, on seeing, on building. I do it. I did it all. So I've got a lot of MU captured. I've got all platinum medals. So you can see I do everything. And I was active in G+. I was active in community, local community, global community. So I prefer to play every aspect of Ingress. But now it's not so easy.
Why do you say that?
Why?
Yeah.
You know, bots.
Yeah. Yeah, so you've actually written a few posts about that.
Yeah, I post a lot about it. Uh, I suppose you can imagine what is it to play in Minsk during last years. And now, if I open my scanner, I saw only added portals around.
Oh,
So, as I understand, some green bots was flew over Minsk and colored every portal from green to blue using ADA. So it's impossible to play. And almost every portal has new AXA shields, and every portal continuously recharging by bots. So every portal is 100% full with energy.
goodness.
So it's almost impossible for green player to play in Minsk.
And you're about to become a green player.
Yes, I will become a green player, but I did not say that I will continue to play.
Okay. All right. Oh, well, that's what it is. All right. So let's get away from Ingress. Tell us a little bit about Belarus.
What do you want to know about Belarus?
Well, it's not Russia. I mean, it has its own history. But I've seen you, I've seen lots of pictures and posts with you, and oh gosh, who was just in town? Oh, Anton, another platinum
Yeah.
explorer. Or no, I'm sorry, excuse me, Onyx explorer, and so yes, just about the country a little bit. What's Belarus known for, or one of the proud achievements of the country?
Achievements? I don't know. Belarus is a little country in the middle of Europe. It's very similar to Russia because we was part of USSR. You know it. I don't know. Belarus is more clean than Russia, and I suppose it's more safe place than Russia. It's not. Belarus is not. Doesn't look like European cities. It's quite little bit different from Europe because I travel a lot in Poland and Germany, and I suppose Belarus is a beautiful place. Here is a lot of lakes, a lot of I don't know, forests.
Okay.
It's very interesting to explore it.
Oh, good to know. Now, you say you travel a lot, and your English, is really, it's quite good. Why do you speak English so well, and what gets you out traveling very much?
I suppose I speak English not so well, as you said.
I think you do.
But
Yes, you do.
I travel a lot mostly because I have special work. I had a lot of business trips. I install products, talk with clients, and so on. So I need to know English rather good to communicate with my customers.
Okay, well, good to know. And so, aside from your work, what else? What do you do outside of Ingress? Do you have any other hobbies? Are you much of a gamer?
Uh, no, I'm not a big gamer. I prefer some geo games. In Minsk, we have several quest geo games. When you have some questions, you should find location. Maybe you should find the code somewhere around location, and then put it into some a website. You will get a new question, new quest, and so on. There is a lot of games like this, and a lot of players in such games. So I play a little bit these geo games, geo quested games. It looks like augmented reality games, but and looks like geocaching games. It's some local mixture of this type of games.
So, well, getting back a little bit to the Ingress part of your game, how did you describe yourself as a player?
I suppose I already said about it. I play which play every aspect of Ingress. I do not prefer only one thing. Since the beginning, I was, as another player said, a leader of local resistance, and I was leader of country resistance. I communicate with different agents all over the world, resistance and enlightened. I was owner and moderator of a lot of communities. Maybe social part of Ingress have not only bright side but also a dark side, some dramas, trolling.
Yeah.
So I also did such things.
So you said you love the every aspect on Ingress, but had your playing had been you have phases of playing Ingress, like for example, maybe at the beginning you were just attacking and trying to destroy everything that you saw on green color, but after, I don't know, several months, you turn more like into portals, and you try to look for new portals or improve pictures or things like that.
Oh, maybe if, maybe I was and I will be still fielder and linker, because I like to link big clusters. I like to link clusters with optimal linking schema to make more onion fields on cluster. I did it from the beginning, and I did it during all my playing. This one of aspect I prefer in Ingress. Second aspect is maybe seeing. I like to discover new places and submit new portals. I'm Platinum Seer, and I suppose I will get 1,000 approved submissions after near monkeys will end with the cure.
Wow, that's awesome.
All right, so are you ready to take some questions from the audience?
Okay.
All right. Oh, Valerie, my Cyrillic is terrible, and my guess is this isn't Russian tense that I can understand, so I'd have to skip these questions. but one that's very popular is, how did you first hear about Ingress?
My first hear about Ingress, I suppose I saw some post on Russian tech site. It was a post about new game from Google. I suppose it was the first Ingress day in the middle of November, and I sent request for invitation, but I received my invitation code in 2 or 3 weeks after that time.
Nice. And what is the most dangerous portal that you've ever had to visit?
Most interesting.
Dangerous.
Dangerous.
Yes.
Dangerous. I suppose the most dangerous portals I've been visited was in Berlin. My first trip in Berlin, I walked around the city, and eventually I came into some part of city looked like ghetto. It was a lot of black guys staying near the walls, and there is portals inside some territory with some buildings look not so well, and I decided do not go there.
Yeah.
And because it looks like dangerous. I suppose I have I can mention only one place with dangerous portals.
Interesting. Any funny portals that you have run into?
Funny portals. No, I suppose I can't remember some funny portal. What I see. Maybe some fake portals. Because my Ingress mate, we work in one building, and he submit coffee box from his working table, and NeoPS approved it. Right on our working building, so it was really funny at that time. It was maybe about 1.5 years ago.
Interesting. Oh, so, okay, this isn't from an audience, but Mike, I'm curious, how many languages have you played in? I mean, 'cause I imagine with the different countries you go to, the portals, and I don't know if even where you might visit might be in different languages.
How many portals I saw on different languages, or I can talk on?
You know what? I'd say a little bit of, let's do a hybrid. How many languages have you played in Ingress, and how many languages do you actually speak?
I actually speak, I suppose, 3 languages. Two my native languages, Russian and Belarusian. I speak English. I can understand French a little bit. Maybe I can understand Polish and speak in Polish a little bit. I also was in several Arabic countries, so I saw portals with these Arabic hieroglyphs. I can understand what it's about. I only oriented on pictures on portals.
Okay. All right, so back to questions. What is something you learned about yourself from Ingress that you didn't really know before?
I think I understand that I can break boundaries. That my unique hunter trips, when I walk around a lot of cities, show me that I can do something at my near my boundaries, and I can break these boundaries. I can do something more than I think about me, because I can show you an example. I walk during the night in one city. It was 3 a.m. I'm very tired, but I said to myself, 10 more portals, 10 more portals, and I repeat it every 15 minutes, and I go forward, and this allowed me to get more uniques. I suppose this is more interesting thing which I knew about myself, because I can to do more if I really want it.
Good. All right. So I guess it is now.
Well,
Go ahead. Go ahead.
okay. Well, Sergey, we have a quite a new tradition here in Behind the Scanner, where we left our guest to speak for 60 seconds about whatever he wants. So you have 50 seconds to explore and say maybe to get more into why you are leaving the right side and going to the wrong side.
I can talk? Can I talk?
So go.
It's you
Go,
can talk
go.
about anything. Don't listen to him.
Okay.
But talk
I suppose I can suggest to Niantic team to work more on their product. I understand that Ingress looks like a sandbox for Niantic team for now, but I suppose they will improve their new games, and we can play that new games more comfortably when we can be secured about our achievements and about our gameplay. We can be free of spoofers, bots, and so on. So I wish them to do it.
Okay. Well, it's our pleasure to have you here.
Absolutely.
Thanks for being our guest. And well, we know it's so early there. What time is there right now?
Right now, 5:30 a.m.
Oh my goodness.
No, my.
Yeah.
Yes. I hope that you have some time to snooze.
I suppose no.
Okay. Otherwise, you're welcome to hang out and stay up with us.
Yeah, I will see next guest hangout.
Okay. Sounds good. And it's great to finally talk to you live.
Me too. At least to meet online.
Thank you, Sergey.
Thank you, George.
Well, now it's time for the code. We have a code to share with you before we get to our second guest. And this code is appearing right now here.
Hurry, hurry, copy that, copy that.
Copy that code. We don't know, maybe it has 20 or 500 redemptions. We don't know, so quick copy, paste it on your Hangouts, your Telegrams, your Slacks, or whatever, your WhatsApp.
I'm not getting my pings, but I forgot my Hangouts are muted.
Well, 5 more seconds. 5 more.
3 more.
3, 2, it's gone. So can you introduce our second guest, please, Daphne?
Yes, yes, yes. Up next, we're going to, I guess, kind of the other side of the world for us. We have Chris Mason, agent. Oh, wow, this is going to be fun. Anarchaeopteryx from Cheech, also known as Christchurch, New Zealand. Welcome, Chris.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yeah.
Oh, awesome. Yeah, so it's Chris Manson, M-A-N-S-O-N. Yeah, I got an award for special effects once. Can you see?
Special effects.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. That's.
Oh, nice.
I'm in
His lower third.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
Thank you very much.
the lower third didn't work. I'm in an internet cafe in Nelson, and the operating system and the browser are a little bit old, so the lower third bit doesn't quite work. But nevertheless, we're on the road now.
All right.
How you doing?
Hey, so first of all, I need to ask, where and how did you get that very dynamic agent name? Is there a special meaning to it or something?
Well, actually, I like Archaeopteryx, the the dinosaur bird fossil. So I like to use that name. But when I tried to choose Archaeopteryx, it was taken. And my mentor at the time, Why Worry, suggested an Archaeopteryx, and that, strangely enough, was not taken. So I used it.
Nice.
Well, how can a kid with that grew up in a dairy farm get in love with dinosaurs? That's my first question.
I was a bookworm when I was a kid. My parents, out on the farm, we didn't have a TV, but we did have encyclopedias. So I used to read all the encyclopedias, and there were lots of stuff in there about dinosaurs. And it was a fascinating name to say, Archaeopteryx.
Yeah.
Just sort of stuck in my mind when I was looking for a name.
Yeah, the first dinosaur with feathers. So,
Yep.
but you grow milking cows and do other stuff. Can you introduce us that all those agents that, as me, who live in big cities, how is to grow up in a farm?
Well, it's one of those things. As a kid, everybody thinks that that's the way life is until you go and stay with someone else, or you see everybody else living differently. You think, oh, it is unusual. Because where I grew up, everybody was on a farm. They're on dairy farms or sheep farms. And so every morning at breakfast time, my father would come in from the milking, holding a big tin with a handle on it with the cow's milk, and we'd have that for breakfast. And we had mutton from the sheep, and you have to go out and get sheep and deal with the sheep and turn it into mutton about once a month. But there was loads of grass. You could run around outside. How I had a pony. I see now I was very lucky. You know, lots of outdoors, fresh air, grass.
Sure.
Pretty good.
Sure.
And fresh from the farm to table kind of dining that people in the big cities, at least here in the U.S., pay big money for. Pretty crazy.
Yes, I miss it. I moved away from the farm about 30 years ago.
Oh.
And I've only just gone back there for a little bit, but I'll have to move back to the city soon.
Yeah. But you mentioned about ponies, and you actually have ridden ponies competitively. Okay, what?
Yes.
Like you ride a pony?
Yep. From when I could walk, when I was about 3 years old, my mother put me on a pony and gave me the reins, bareback, no saddle, and I sort of used to ride it around the paddock. Fall off, cry, she'd come out, pick me up, put me back on again.
Oh my gosh. So for how long, I mean, is there a limitation of when you can ride ponies? I imagine there's a weight limit or something.
Generally around about 13 years old.
Oh,
Most riders move on to a something a bit, well, got 13.2. It's all metric, but I forget. It's about 13.2, 14.2 hands. The ponies get bigger and bigger and bigger. So as you get older, you just go to a big pony. Ponies aren't these tiny little wee miniature things.
oh,
They're 160, 172, 180 centimeters. They
Wow.
they go up, and then suddenly you're into horses.
right. Okay, yeah. I do kids who do ride ponies competitively even grow up riding with the pony who turns into a horse, and the kid turns into a jockey, or?
Well, within about a year to about 8 months, the pony's just about reached its full size. So you look at the rider, see how tall they are, and you've got to get a horse or pony that matches that person. You can't have a tall person on a small pony; it just doesn't work. And you don't want to have a tiny little person on a big horse, because that doesn't work either. So quite often, I think I had 2 or 3 different ponies and then a couple of horses before I stopped doing it. When I went to university, I left the farm, so you couldn't have a horse in town, and that was the finish. No more horses. Got a bicycle instead.
You're very competitive. I think that was something that you learned since you were a little kid. And you were also part of the New Zealand men team and participate in several dragon boat contests. I rode for some time when I was young, but this contest, the dragon boat, seems like a little bit hard, a rough contest. Can you tell us about that?
No. If there was anybody who knows, if there was anybody from my dragon boat days who was watching now, they'd wave at you and say, warning, warning, because I'll talk for hours about it. If you've seen I think it's the Canadian canoeing, where they kneel and have a paddle.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like that, but you're seated and you've got about 20 paddlers, and you can have short races of about 250 meters up to about 1 kilometer. So it comes out of China, so the Chinese are about the best in the world. And we went to the first world champs up in Yuyang in China in 1995. But to get 20 people paddling together effectively is pretty darn hard. And it's actually lots and lots of neat fun, because after the competitions we used to have these huge parties. You get a couple of thousand people having a party afterwards, and it's great. We actually used to go to a place called Lake Karapiro where they do the New Zealand rowing, and we'd go there in February, I think, each year for the national champs. Lots of fun.
Very cool. All right. Well, let's get back to Ingress World for a minute. And you were actually an iPhone user. However, before Niantic enabled the iOS op. So how did you address that and continue playing the game?
Well, actually, unless I made a mistake in writing it down, I apologize if I did. I didn't actually have anything except an old Nokia phone. So I didn't do anything. And then I was actually in Timor at the time, which I've done about 3/4 of all my ingressing has been in the country of Timor-Leste. And another volunteer who came over said, "Oh, you've got to play Ingress, look at this." And I thought, well, I haven't got anything I can play it on. Actually, I did have a tablet, but I didn't get a cell phone. I didn't get a smartphone until I found out about Ingress, and that's the only thing I do on them is play Ingress. But it's been a bit of a varied experience, because I've had one stolen out of my hand in Bali. I was playing about 10 o'clock at night in Bali, and someone went past on a motorbike and just took it out of my hand.
Oh my gosh.
Oh.
So it was classic look of surprise
Right.
and bye-bye phone. But yes, I used a tablet, and I've been through about three or four smartphones. Two got ruined in a torrential downpour in Yangon in Myanmar, one stolen in Bali, and one stolen in Timor-Leste, with a lot of other things. So Ingress has made things really interesting for me.
Yeah, definitely. All right, we'll go on with that in just a minute. Jorge, you want to remind people?
Yeah, sure. Well, if you want to be part of this conversation and ask something to our guests, well, please go to a Q&A. You have to click on the banner at the bottom of the video that says "Be part of the conversation." From there, you just click the square grid menu icon in the upper right and select Q&A, and that's it. You can send us any questions you want to the guest, and hopefully it's going to be answered. So, how many different countries have you played in?
Sorry, say
right
again?
now, how many different countries have you played in? Do you live right now in Timor?
No, I've finished living in Timor. It was Timor, Bali, a little bit in Singapore, and about 3.5 weeks in Myanmar last year, and about 3 months in New Zealand. Oh, and a little bit in Australia. You know, you get through the international airport, and also a bit in Darwin.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, wow.
It's because it's about the closest airport apart from Bali to Timor. So if you're flying into or out of Timor-Leste, this is at East Timor, was what it used to be, and now it's Timor-Leste. You either fly in and out via Bali, or you fly to Darwin, Australia. And I got to go to Darwin twice. There's an interesting thing you can catch called dengue fever, and I got it very badly, so I got a medical evacuation to Darwin.
Yes.
But while I was recovering, of course, I used the opportunity to meet the local enlightened and go and collect portals. And of course, I took all my keys, so I dished out keys. And one of them very nicely kept one of my portals going when I was out of the country, and that's how I got a platinum for my Guardian. So thank you, whoever it was in Darwin.
Wow. So in Timor, you were the only enlightened player. How many res players were there too?
Well, there used to be 2. They've gone up to 3.
Wow.
Yeah. There was another enlightened player. I think they were either Indonesian or local, but I couldn't get them to meet or even reply in com.
Oh no.
So that was a shame. But when I started, there were the 2 of us, the 2 volunteers, myself and Chris Scrab Oracle, were the players then, against the 2 rares. And we soon found out we needed each other, because of course it's no fun if you're the only group.
Sure.
But we had about 6, when we got there were about 6 portals in the country, and I think there's well over 100 now.
Wow.
Because we were all furiously submitting portals while we were there.
Well, I can imagine to play with just 2 other from the other faction, and that's it, and me, and one from my faction that doesn't answer. It's quite crazy.
Well, we had fun. We did create a level 8 portal.
How did you?
We realised Adas and Jarvises, and
How many did it take?
we were all friends. Yeah, we're all friends, you see. So we met and decided we're going to make this one an 8. So over the weekend, when people had time, we were going backwards and forwards, and who worked out who would do what to it. So we could flip it and upgrade it, flip it and upgrade it. And we ended up with this 8 portal, and then realised, of course, it was virtually a white elephant, because it was so difficult to keep it recharged. You had to go out and collect all this energy and keep it going. And after about 2 weeks, I think, it died.
Oh
We
no.
couldn't keep it going, but it
Oh,
was fun doing it.
oh, that's, I bet. So part of the kind of this, I don't want to say isolation, but sparse population. You also ran a countrywide event. Was it there? And
Well, that's a tongue-in-cheek comment from me.
okay.
The countrywide event was for EN, which was me. So I'd managed to get keys. I'd been earlier, been to Bali about 4 times, so I managed to get keys, get in contact, and at the airport, pass off some keys to a local enlightened there in Bali. And then when I went back and let them know that I was doing this in East Timor, as covering as much as the country as I could in about 3 days, and then trying to get a link going with Bali. So they were good enough to set up an 8 portal on the coast and link to 2 of mine in the country. And then all I had to do once I'd been out linking everything I could was get back to Dili, and they got a very, very big statue of Jesus at Cristo Rey. I don't know, about 8 meters or so, 10 meters high. And that was the last link. So I had to get there and link it to another one in the west of the country, and because Bali had linked to my 2, and that got me 948,000 MU. So that was really neat. It was very special for me, and of course I couldn't have done it without Bali Enlightened's help. So I certainly learned a lot about international cooperation. It's quite a buzz.
Yeah, I bet.
Okay, so you do events for yourself. So you do dramas too, also for yourself, because that's the Ingress world to live the dramas too. So if you are the only one, maybe you have to do yourself your own drama.
It's not too bad actually. Sometimes it's good and sometimes it's bad, and you just
Well,
it's just really a case of doing things, isn't it?
yeah. Well, you look yourself as an explorer, right? So you love to find new portals everywhere, and you have amazing experience in stories doing this from airports to pagodas. Please tell us a little bit about that.
Well, I've submitted some portals and got them approved in parts of Timor that I doubt anybody's ever going to go and visit again for years. So I couldn't ever get to go back to them because they're just so isolated, because the telecoms are not very good there and they're expensive and isolated. I can't think of anything especially special. I did put some on an island off the north coast, a place called Ataru Island, and I got about 3 submitted and approved on there, which meant you could link across the sea back to Timor.
Wow.
But one of the better ones, which I was quite chuffed about, was Bali International Airport. When they opened up October 2013, I think that they had a big international heads of government meeting there, and they just opened up part of the international terminal, and I went through there 5 days after it opened. They had a great big clock tower. Well, you can see it now, it's still there, it's in the food hall of the international departures, and I submitted that and it got approved. So until someone gets mods up a new photograph of it, it's got my name on it, and it's kind of fun that, when you see something that you submitted sort of turning up on the world map. But yeah, I have to say it's certainly changed the way I look at everything now. I get around town now, I get around all these different cities and places simply by looking for the monuments, churches, bridges, plaques, works of art. It's it's really quite interesting.
Well, in East Timor in particular, I mean, it's only a few years old. So, I mean, imagine a lot of the monuments that you're looking at have got to be fairly new, or is that just
Well,
Westerners' assumption?
Timor, I think either this year or next year, it'll be 500 years from when the Portuguese first made it a colony. 500 years from when it was made a colony by Portuguese. That whole area used to be the Spice Islands,
Mm-hmm.
where nutmeg and mace and all those sorts of things used to come from. So there's nothing that's that old, but there's lots of very old Portuguese buildings there, and there's memorial statues. There's from about, was it 75 to 99, you got the Indonesian time when Indonesia controlled Timor, and there's lots of those sorts of things there. There's actually quite a bit of history. There's, I think, 2 separate places where we've submitted cannons, old Portuguese cannons, and there's forts all over the place, remains of forts. So there's quite a bit of history. You just got to go looking for it. The harder part I tried to submit were some tunnels which the Japanese had dug when they occupied in World War II.
Mm-hmm.
But it's out of telecom range, so I didn't know about GPS embedding in the photograph then. Otherwise I could have made it work.
Now you
But
know.
they do have a lot of history there. Even though their independence is, 2002, their history goes back a long way.
Yeah. All right. So, gosh, I have so many questions about your stats, but well, I think the one I would probably be most curious about is your seer stats.
That's what?
Oh,
Portal submissions?
that's portal submissions.
Okay, right. Well, about 80 to 85 of those are in Timor,
Mm-hmm.
and I've got about the rest to spread, I think, actually in Bali, and I've picked up a few in Myanmar. So yeah, it's a lot, of course, a lot harder now, as we all know, stopping on at the end of the year. When I started, I think it was about 3 or 4 weeks it took to get an approval, and I'm sure with the old timers I'll say, it was quicker, but of course it's stretched out. But yes, it was. That was the only way really to get variety in Timor. You've got to create portals and link them up.
Right.
You can't get uniques because you're creating them.
All right. Well, are you ready for some viewer questions?
Sure am.
All right. So we have got a viewer named Andrew Krug.
Who's
Am I
that?
pronouncing that correctly? He'd like to know, of all the places you visited and played Ingress, what was the most challenging place to play and why?
It would have to be definitely Timor, because I had to take an off-road bike. The roads are 95% are all falling to bits. They just don't have the money to look after them. So everyone, if you go out of town, has to have a 4-wheel drive. And I've finally managed to get hold of an off-road motorbike so I could get out there and actually travel around it and do all this link up. If you look me up on G+, Chris Manson, Manson, I've actually still got the little write-up there, the screenshots of the sort of the mission I did, the link up, plus part of the link out to Bali. Getting out to each place, you had to actually find a place to stay, deal with the mosquitoes, get hold of petrol from somewhere, make sure the petrol was okay. And the roads changed dramatically. There was one particular road that I stopped on I thought, that looks a bit funny. The road ahead has a straight line across it. So I actually slowed right down and went up to it, and the whole road just disappeared. It dropped down about a metre. But everybody who lived in that area knew that you went off to the left-hand side and went around it through the grass and went back on the road again. But there's no signs. The roads slump, they're fallen away, they break off, they fall down the hill. It's quite exciting stuff. And your standard speed out there is maybe 30 to 50 kilometres an hour. And you measure your travel in hours. You don't say it's 60, 70, 100 kilometres. You say it's a 5-hour trip. So it's exciting stuff. And I had to take 2 different telecom SIMs with me to try and get a signal to see if I could get these things in. And to my regret, I didn't know about the GPS and the photograph. Otherwise, I could have done a lot more.
Interesting. Wow.
But yeah, I love doing it.
Yeah.
The really interesting one recently was in Bagan up in Myanmar, where they got these fabulous pagodas, fabulous ones, some with gold, gold leaf all over them.
Wow.
But I'm pretty sure they've got about 2,000 of them all over this plain, and you can do balloon trips in the dawn over them. And I actually did one of those. And I took a fold-up bicycle with me when I left Timor, so when I got to Singapore, I could cycle around Singapore on my fold-up bike, and got to Burma, I did that there, and also in Bali. And so I was furiously pedaling around Bagan, and after about 50 pagoda submissions, I thought, oh, I better do something else. I haven't got the legs to do 2,000 pagodas.
Well, I think our previous guest, Sergey, he's got the legs, so maybe you 2 guys can team up.
I don't think I could walk 80 Ks. I'm pretty impressed with that.
Yeah, no kidding. That is, that's pretty crazy. All right, one more question. It sounds kind of trollish, but only because of the person who's asking will I ask this. But Chris, can you do the haka dance?
Right. It's called haka.
Haka.
Not haka. And I've done it a few times with the sports teams, and it's one of those things that it's not a dance. It's a very important thing.
Listen, Craig.
It's a challenge. It's an expression of who you are. So there's a lot of cultural things tied up in it. Imagine something that's important to you in your culture, and it's important to do it right and understand where it comes from. So yes, I can do it. Yes, I can do it, but it's not something you get up and say, hey, I've had a few drinks at a party, I'm going to do it. No. But it's when it's done at the right time, for the right reasons, it's really impressive. So if you've ever watched our All Blacks, our rugby team play, they always do a haka at the start of the match. So I'm sure you'll find one on YouTube.
Oh, good to know.
But yeah, I've done it. I've done it with a dragon boat team. We visited Bangkok a few years ago, and we were practicing downstairs at the hotel, and this Kiwi came downstairs. He didn't know us, and he said, I saw you from upstairs and you're no good. I'm going to show you how to do it. So he made us watch him and trained us so that we did a good job.
Oh, that's great. I like that you've got your countrymen looking out for you.
Yeah.
Well, Chris, now it's the moment. You have 60 seconds to talk about anything you want. So, go on.
Or haka dance, or yes, just kidding.
Not that. I think there are lots of good aspects about the game and what it does. For me, meeting so many different people and having fun. So keeping the fun in it and finding new ways to do stuff like the cross-faction artwork, I think is pretty cool. Making it more accessible for people who got less money. In Timor, it's very, very hard to get local people to play because they can't afford to get the telecom. to get internet. It's I worked with professional people. I worked in IT there, and they were on 235 US a month, and they've got a family and children, and yeah, they'd like to do it, but they're very, very careful with their money. So if there's a way to make the game more inclusive, I think it could opening it up would be good fun. I think there's a lot more that we haven't discovered. I think there's more good aspects that have come out of it. I really enjoy it. It really livens up my trips, and I look forward to what we can do with it. And yeah, it's hard to sort of saying that you know, when did I start playing the game? I'm thinking, wow, so much of what I've been doing in the last 2 years is around Ingress. Where am I going? Get in touch with the people in that country. Go here, go there, to do this, do that. I went to Ubud in Bali, and I think I did yoga once, but the rest of the time was furiously pedaling everywhere, grabbing portals and making fields and making the whole of Ubud green. It was great fun.
Nice.
Yes, I think it's about having fun, and I've had a lot of fun doing this, and I've met some great people, and heck, even one of them, guy Chris Bolton from Melbourne, he sent me a phone, just put it in a bag and sent it to me when I was in Darwin, because when I got robbed, I had to be medevaced to Darwin again because I had a couple of broken bones in my neck from the robbery, and I had no phone, and he courier packed one up from Melbourne to Darwin. Bang, it arrived, and I was playing the game again. Yeah, to me that's pretty amazing that someone would be generous enough to do that. So I'm very grateful to Chris for that. But it's also sums up the Ingress community. The people that I've come into contact have been great in each country. So I'm grateful for that, and I encourage people to keep doing it. It's great.
Thank you very much, Chris. Thank you for being with us tonight. It's a pleasure.
Yeah, wonderful to meet you and hear about your adventures. And Sergey's, my goodness. I feel so...
It is, and it's really neat to be here. Really neat to be on the show. And I hope things go well for you in Belarus, Sergey.
You can unmute yourself now. All right, well, everyone, thanks so much for watching. You can join us next week.
And, well, happy hacking.
Good night.
Bye-bye. Thank you, Chris.
Yeah.
Thank you,
Sergey.